A common issue that reptile keepers often run into is calcium buildup on their tanks or glass enclosures. So today we are going to be testing various ways to get rid of calcium buildup to see which works best. Removing calcium buildup isn't actually as difficult as you might think as long as you understand how it works on a chemical level. For this, we need the pH scale. The pH scale runs from 1 to 14, and 7, being in the middle, is a neutral pH. Substances with a pH level of 1 are very acidic, and those with a pH level of 14 are very basic or alkaline. Calcium buildup has a relatively high pH level, meaning that it is quite basic or alkaline. They're synonyms for one another. That also means that it's water soluble when dissolved with an acid. So basically, in order to remove calcium buildup, you just need an acid to dissolve it with. The 4 acids that most reptile keepers use to remove calcium buildup are hydrogen peroxide, which has a pH level of around 4 to 5, and that's for the 3% solution that you can find at most pharmacies. Sulfuric acid, which has a pH level of 2.75, and this is often labeled as pH down or pH decrease, and is found in the fish department of most pet stores. Cleaning vinegar, which has a 5 or 6% acidity, and depending on the acidity, has a pH level of 2 to 2.5, and lemon juice, which has a pH level of about 2. I, for many years, have been using sulfuric acid, or the pH down, to remove calcium buildup, and it works beautifully. However, with all of these new suggestions that I've seen kind of floating around, I'm really curious to see which one of those 4 solutions works best. So we're going to test all 4 of them on camera, and we don't know what the answer is going to be, and you'll get to find out with us on which solution is actually going to be most effective. So this is the 10-gallon tank I was holding earlier in the video. We have been misting down the side here about a couple times a day for the last 3 weeks just to get some calcium buildup on the glass. So it should be, and we've been evenly spraying it too, so it should be an even layer of calcium buildup here.
We have super hard water, so
we do.
It didn't take very long.
Exactly. The lower sections here are the areas that we are going to be trying to remove the calcium buildup using each of these chemicals. And I've listed their pH level on here as well, so you can kind of keep that in mind. They're in order from the lowest pH number to the highest, which is deceiving because, again, the lower the number is, the higher or stronger the acid is. The upper section here is actually going to be our control. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each of these substances and soak a small square of a sponge with it, and then reach back here, because this is where the calcium buildup is, and wipe a layer onto the appropriate section, let it sit for a minute, and then wipe it off. We'll do this for each one, and then see, compared to the upper section here, which one performs the best. Let's start with hydrogen peroxide. Okay, we're going to wipe it down here, just saturate it with a single layer of the chemical. And this way, if it drips down, it's not going to leak into one of the adjacent sections. It'll just leak down and out of the way. And we'll let it sit for a minute. While that's soaking, we're going to move on to sulfuric acid. With this stuff, if you do use it, I actually recommend wearing gloves if you have any, like, scratches on your skin, because it will sting. Just a little FYI. This is the stuff that I really like to use, but I might be proven wrong after this. And I'm putting each sponge in front of it on the counter. You can't tell, but they're underneath so that we use the same sponge to wipe them off afterwards. Oh, now they're gonna see all of our messy tape.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll make it look pretty again.
Okay. Next up is vinegar. I'm trying to apply the same amount or same thickness of a layer too. And finally, lemon juice. Okay, it's been about a minute since we started hydrogen peroxide, so I'm going to gently try to wipe it off. Okay, I'm going to try to do that same amount of scrubbing for each one. They all look pretty clear right now, but that could just be because they're wet. Oftentimes if I were just to apply water on here, it would look the same, but then as soon as it dries, it would go right back to this calcium buildup look. And for the final result, we'll use a paper towel to wipe off the excess liquid. Ooh, that looks nice. Ooh, I still
see a lot there.
Yeah, actually, now that it's drying, I still see quite a bit too.
Tried and true method.
This is what I really like to use. I'm hoping it does well. That looks clean as a whistle.
I don't see anything on it.
I don't either. Wow.
Okay, I don't see vinegar.
I mean, theoretically, as we move to the left and the pH level goes down, there should be a stronger reaction between the acid and the basic calcium buildup, so it should just get clearer and clearer. Ooh. Ooh, that looks really nice too. I kind of see a little bit.
I
Yep.
can kind of see something in there.
Yeah, now that it's drying. And the lemon juice. It smells very fruity in here now.
Smells like lemons.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that looks nice too. We won't know for sure though until they completely dry.
And also just for everybody who might be like, well, that might just be some kind of powder on there. So we wipe it.
And this is just water.
This is just plain old water. Goes away. I scrubbed a little bit too hard. Now there's white specks.
And now that it's dried, you can see that it's right back where it started. So water, again, water is what's causing the calcium buildup in this case, so obviously wiping with more water isn't going to clean it off. But let's check out the results here. Starting on the right, hydrogen peroxide, pH 4 to 5. I definitely still see some calcium buildup, and I mean, it cleaned off a decent amount of it, but you're still gonna have to go over it another time or two to clean it all off. Next is sulfuric acid, pH of 2.75. I don't see a single watermark. I see some bits of white from the paper towel.
I can see like a streak going down right here.
A streak, like from where I wiped?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to come at a different angle. So like right there, there's a streak of a couple drops and then a streak coming down. But overall, pretty clean.
Next is vinegar, pH 2. I'm trying to look at different angles here. I see...
A little bit up here.
Yeah, there's some streaks from the paper towel, so maybe I didn't apply as much pressure up there, but it looks like it cleaned it off pretty well. Oh, actually, I can see some specks kind of scattered throughout of hard water buildup. Yep. It's hard to see, but they are there, but it still did a really good job. And finally, lemon juice with a pH level of 2. This also looks very clean, but again, from angles, I can see a little bit of hard water near the top there, and very lightly, though, scattered throughout. So you can kind of see it there, see the vinegar there still behind, sulfuric acid. I see the streak from where I wiped.
I don't see any spots.
Yeah, I actually don't either. The spot right there is on the outside. That's not on the inside. Wow. Okay.
And then, yeah, our hydrogen peroxide didn't really do anything.
No, it didn't. I don't even have to angle the camera to see the leftover calcium buildup. So at least in today's experiment, sulfuric acid, or I guess pH down, and that may be slightly different. It might not be pure sulfuric acid. There might be something else in it. But regardless, pH down, pH degreaser seems to work the best. But if you don't have access to that, then vinegar or lemon juice will work in a pinch. Depending on the brand of pH decrease, which is, again, essentially sulfuric acid, depending on what brand you get, and this is Topfin, which is like a PetSmart proprietary brand, and this stuff is kind of old, but I mean, it still works. There's also API's pH down, there's also pH reducer, there's a bunch of brands of this, and depending on maybe other ingredients in there, I mean, this just says contains sulfuric acid. But overall, I mean, pH decrease from the fish section of pet stores seems to remove calcium buildup the best.
We've actually used it on super hard buildup, like crusty buildup that you can like pick off with your finger and it just fizzles it away. So this wouldn't work anywhere you have a silicone because you don't want to cut it, but you can also just shave it away with a razor blade.
Yeah, that works really well actually.
But like I said, you can't do corners because you will just nick it and tear up that silicone. And you don't. If it's something holding water, you don't want it to leak like a turtle tank.
Well, I learned something new about calcium buildup removal. I learned that I am using the best option by what it looks like here anyway. But if you're also using vinegar or lemon juice, or those are just, easier to come across than sulfuric acid, then you can totally use those in a pinch and they'll work just fine. Well, I hope you all enjoyed our super scientific experiment today to figure out what substance works best for removing calcium buildup, and I hope you learned something new. We learned that there's several options that you have to remove calcium buildup pretty efficiently too. As always, I'd like to thank our very generous Patreon backers for your amazing support on this channel, and thank you to everybody who's watching, and again, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. A common issue that reptile keepers often... I guess we do.
Point them out.
Yeah.
People like seeing that, so.
Alright.
That was recording, too. We have footage of him pooping.
That's a huge poop, dude. He's like, yeah, look at it.
Yeah, look at my poop, guys.
Oh, it smells. And that's for the 3% solution. My hypothesis is that lemon juice is going to be the best at removing... She pooped in there, too. I was telling you, he already pooped, so we could keep using him.
Also, you know what the not so good thing about this test is? Now we have to clean this entire tank.
Yeah, we do.
Because we didn't just do one side of that tank.
We misted down all 4 sides in case we messed up on one side and needed the other one to redo it. Now we get to clean all 4 sides of a tank we have been adding very heavily calcified, or hard water, I should say. Very hard water, too, for the last 3 weeks.
Or do we just keep going and see how hard we can make that tank?
You can test it like the ultimate calcium buildup removal.